No, they wanna see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that NFL Divisional Playoff Round predictions. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
Man, glad to have you back. Glad to be back on the air in front of this wonderful YouTube audience that we've developed. Shout out to everybody that's just joining us. And if you're going to be listening to this on replay, do so and leave us a comment. Let us know if you like the show, how we can improve the show. That being said, Drew, we didn't do a show on Monday. Typically, that's the Shoeshine, which was dedicated podcast to boxing news. But the first 2 weekends of boxing have been incredibly slow. They've been so slow. And so we just kind of passed on it. But you know what? Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and More on YouTube. He did an incredibly great interview with Dougie Fisher of Ring Magazine. Lots of things going on with Ring Magazine. Obviously, now they've been purchased by Turki Al-Sheikh of Saudi Arabia. And they had the a Ring Awards ceremony in the UK that we're going to discuss later on the show. The Ring Awards in the UK. While Drew comes back, we're going to do our divisional picks first for football. Everybody's excited Saturday. We're going to run through the brackets. But as I was saying, the Ring Awards were this week in the UK. And our good friend in the chat here, Bruce Gass, did a great interview with Dougie Fisher. As you can see, the face of boxing, guys, the face of boxing did not get the memo, or the face of boxing don't give a shit because the dress code don't apply to Canelo Alvarez. This was a black tie event. Black tie meaning tuxedo, a tuxedo event. Everybody here dressed very nicely. I even see Gabriela Fundora back there. I see somebody with a dog. Is that a dog I see? Everybody dressed so nice. Turki Al-Sheikh, I guess, he gets an exemption. He owns the Ring Awards. And Canelo Alvarez, he gets an exemption too. He did not have to wear the suit and tie. Shout out to Fonzie619. Speaking of being a slow boxing, things are going to ramp up quickly because I have procured great seats. And I think our boy Fonzie619 in the chat will be joining us at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas next Saturday for Diego Pacheco. Matchroom Boxing presents Diego Pacheco. Andy Cruz, the gold medalist, who, obviously you guys have been, if you know the lightweight division, Andy Cruz will be the co-main, I believe. It should be a great night of boxing. And always, since I've moved to Las Vegas, the January matchups are really like a locals event, and they're fantastic because last year at this time in January, I got to meet Teofimo Lopez at the Virgin Hotel. Who wasn't there at the Virgin Hotel? That was the Virgil Ortiz fight. So usually you will see a lot of the local boxing stars at these early January events. I hope to see you guys there. If anybody's there, let me know. Hit me up on my Instagram at Shoeshine_boxing. Where did my co-host go? I know we've been having some issues with Skype. I use Skype here. Sometimes it sounds great. Sometimes it looks great. Sometimes it just gives up. So I don't know if that's where Drew took off. So let me know. Let's start talking about this bracket really quickly as Drew comes back. What were your favorite games last weekend? To me, the Commanders had the most exciting game against the Buccaneers. Obviously, that was a fantastic close game. And everything else was a big surprise to me as a football fan. There were some blowouts. There were some really bad blowouts. Games that I thought would be much, much closer. Chargers versus Texans. What a shocker that was for me. I had the Chargers winning that game. Boy, was I wrong. They weren't even in the game. Fonzie, what happened, man? What happened to, former 49ers coach who usually is very successful in the playoffs? He did turn around the season of the Chargers, but they fell to C.J. Stroud, who I didn't think was going to win this game and pull off this game. And now C.J. Stroud earns a trip to first seed Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. 32-12. That was the shock. Steelers, boy. I think Drew thought the Steelers were going to beat the Ravens. I didn't see that. That game also a 14-point spread. Bills versus the Bronco. I've been raving about Bo Nix. And obviously Jaden Daniels this season. Jaden Daniels being the most outstanding rookie quarterback of the bunch. Bo Nix closely behind. But damn, was that game not competitive at all either. Also a blowout. Bills 31-7. We talking about blowouts. Eagles comfortably won their game again. Another game I thought would be closer to the Packers sent home for the season. Blowouts. Speaking of blowouts, we didn't do the show on Monday. Rams versus the Vikings. I had a good friend, my boy Speech Impediment Man, a comedian that is a big Vikings fan. Boy, was he upset. 27-9. Ooh, now I can see why the 49ers didn't have any problem giving up that quarterback to the Vikings. And he had a phenomenal regular season, but that last season game and then his first wild card appearance, Sam Darnold, shout out to him for having a great season and potentially finding a new permanent home with the Vikings. But boy, woo, was that game awful. In fact, Fonzie619 says Chargers and Vikings were dookie. Oh, yeah. So Rams won that game easily 27-9. That's the NFC West rival of the San Francisco 49ers, guys. I have to be rooting for the Detroit Lions. And obviously the Rams are going into the backyard of my co-host, Philly Irish Drew Evo. Let me just check my phone really quick if he's texting me that something happened. Shout out to Sin City Syndicate. Let's quickly see if he texts me. No, I guess he may have stepped away. Here we are, Drew.
No problem.
Well, while you're back, Sin City Syndicate says, why y'all ignoring my Rams Super Bowl 59 futures pick for the past 12 months with odds as high as 135-1? I could have been a millionaire. I can't root for your team. I can't root for your team, Sin City Syndicate.
I'm going to tell him something right now. He wants to go for that 135-1 with Matthew Stafford being 1-8 in outdoor games with rain and snow, with 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, with a QBR of 54. Be my guest. You're going to lose money this weekend betting on the Rams. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If they don't stop the one early, it's going to be over early. And the thing about it is, they have not played an outdoor cold game since COVID.
Wow. We're going to get to that Eagles-Rams game prediction. I can't believe, but speaking, Sin City Syndicate's getting fired. Speaking of Eagles, this story made big news, even if you're not a football fan. You know, when shit goes viral, Drew, unfortunately, the Philadelphia Eagles have a reputation of being some of, quote unquote, I'll quote my boy Joe's Sports Channel on YouTube when he was on here, some of the worst fans in the NFL. Now, I happen to think you're a good fan, but unfortunately, this guy didn't paint the Philadelphia Eagles fan base in a great light, Drew. This guy happened to go viral. Let me put up his picture really quickly.
Yeah, but I am going to say this. Joe can kiss my ass. And everybody that wants to hate on Philadelphia and call them piece of shit people, you can kiss my ass too. And that's because you, Brian, from Outside the Box Sports Talk, you're in South Jersey and you talk about a fan base that's right near you. And you talk so much shit with your bad fucking takes week after week. No wonder why our show does way better numbers than you.
Well, unless you guys are living in a bubble, you guys probably heard this gentleman here, Ryan Caldwell, a Philadelphia Eagles fan, berated this poor woman here, a Packers fan who went to your stadium, Drew. And boy, he really gave her an earful. I won't even repeat the things he said to her. But it turns out, despite him saying the most, sexist and disgusting things possible to a woman, he actually has a great job and great career. He had a great job and a career. His name is Ryan Caldwell, a partner at BCT Partners, a finance group. Well, he just blew his job, and they had to let him go when he went viral, Drew. And unfortunately now, I hope you have enough money in your retirement savings, because you might end up retiring sooner than you expected, because you're damaged goods at this point to be in your 50s. Sad. And interesting enough, Drew, the woman that he fucked with and her fiance are a big YouTube channel right here on YouTube. They're a Packers channel, which is why it kind of went viral so quickly. It's just he just happened to fuck with the wrong girl. She happens to have a big presence. Her and her man got a big Packers fan channel on YouTube. So anyways, Speaking of cold, we're going to get to that, Drew. I know that you've been dealing with a lot of cold weather, as a lot of people have been, and that's absolutely going to affect that game. So let's get to that first game, guys. Thank you if you're joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button. Shout out to SB Sin City Syndicate, that SS Spider in the chat, and everybody that's up in here. Thank you, guys. Let's get to that first game, Saturday. Eagles versus the Ram at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jalen Hurts.
Sunday.
It's Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday. Okay, well, shit. Well, anyways, let's talk about your game since I have no skin in the game. Eagles versus the Rams, Sin City Syndicate. Obviously, I think you're a Rams fan. This should be a very good one. Actually, it should be one that maybe that would be fun for you guys to make a small wager if you wanted to. Jalen Hurts has 135 passing yards in 3 playoff games average. Drew, is that going to be a problem with the snow? Are they even going to be trying to throw the ball to A.J. Brown much with this heavy snowstorm anticipated? And tell me again, let me know how badly the Rams do in the snow.
Short week, having to go back to Los Angeles, then have to go across the country. The Rams haven't won or haven't played in a cold game, outdoor game, since COVID. And Matthew Stafford is 1-8 in rain and snow games in his career.
Interesting enough, that's a great statistic. It doesn't sound too good, but he is 5-1 ever since joining the Rams. He's 5-1 in playoff appearances, but that doesn't sound too good that he doesn't know how to particularly play well in cold. And we saw the 49ers this season go to Buffalo and just get spanked. Not only is Buffalo a great team, but the 49ers aren't acclimated to playing in cold weather. I certainly think that's going to be a factor. Let's talk about the odds of this one, and let me know who you guys, start putting it in the chat, who you guys think is going to win this game. The Eagles are favored to win this game. It is Sunday at 12 p.m. Rams, a 6-point underdog. Philadelphia favored by 6 points. Over is 43 points. You have predicted some pretty good blowouts. The playoffs I was just, before you stepped away, man, there was a lot of blowouts in last weekend's wildcard games. Only the Commanders game and Buccaneers was, to me, very competitive and exciting. Are you thinking blowout, or are you thinking the Rams are going to hang in there?
I think it's going to be 40-21 Eagles.
19 points.
I think if the Rams cannot stop the run early, the game is already over. Like, the Rams are ranked 23rd in the league against the run, give up 130 yards a game. Last time we played them in L.A., we ran for over 300 yards on them. So if you got to look at it like this. They did sell out and try to and box out the run, but they were still giving up 300 yards. Like, I'm sorry, if we're going to look at it like this, that defense has improved, but they're still giving up 5 yards. They gave up 5 yards a carry against the Vikings, and that's not even as good as an offensive line as the Eagles' offensive line.
Okay. Hey, sorry to interrupt you, Drew, but one thing I will give praise to the Rams was that they managed to get 9 unbelievably hard sacks on Sam Darnold last week on Monday. Monday. 9 sacks. Unbelievable performance by the Rams defense. But how are they going to stack up against, I'm not paying that close attention, but I heard you guys got a good offensive line.
Got the best offensive line in football. And I think, I'm sorry, but when you got the youngest defense in football, in the Eagles have the youngest defense in football, and they're ranked number 2 in scoring defense, and they ranked number 1 overall defense. They're the number 1 pass defense in the NFL. And the thing about it is that when they met in LA, they only gave up 185 yards passing. So if we look at it like this, I see this could get, if they cannot stop the run, the Rams, this is going to get out of hand early. And it might not be 40-21. It might be 40-17 or maybe 40-10.
I won't go that far, but listen, Cincinnati Syndicate brings up a very good point. A.J. Brown seems to be complaining lately because he's not getting a lot of touches, and when he does get the touches, he does perform. But he makes a point. He says A.J. Brown is a team chemistry killer. What about that relationship with Jalen Hurts?
That is the oldest news he just pointed out. The thing is a book that he reads on the sidelines. And he said he likes to read on the sidelines, and everything to keep him motivated, and everything. And a lot of stuff that he reads is what he goes by, and everything. And by the way, because he reads that book, it became a best-selling book on Amazon overnight. So you could thank A.J. Brown, Amazon, that author that got that book sold out. But A.J. Brown, I think the Eagles' offense is going to go off. And I think it's going to be something that the worst thing about the Rams defense is they try to play off man too much. And it didn't, and Jalen Hurts torched that defense. While the running game was rushing over 300 yards against them. Now, the object is, are you willing to try to sell out and defend the run? You did it in the first game, and you still had over 300 yards rushed against you. Because you just didn't have the defensive linemen to keep up with the offensive linemen through strength and everything. I'm saying that if they can't stop the run, it opens up the play action, opens up the RPO, and they're going to start selling out, and it's going to leave people open. It's going to leave people open because of the type of defense they play. And Jalen Hurts has been great against the blitz. I don't care what anybody says about him. He's been great against the blitz. He was great in the second half. He was 3 of 5 in the first half against the blitz. 114 QBR. In the second half, he was 6 or 7. And had 2 touchdowns. So total QBR 145. That's near perfect. A perfect QBR. So if we look at it like this, I see that if you're going to play man off him, if you're going to play off man or plus man, Jalen Hurts is going to eat you alive. You're going to play zone, you probably have a better chance. But if you're selling out the run, you're not going to have a chance. Especially if you're selling out the run and you still can't stop the run. Now, last week, the only two when the playoffs started, there was only 2 teams inside the top 5 in defense. And they were playing each other, the Packers and the Eagles. The Eagles beat the Packers, number 5 ranked defense. Took them out. Now, can we say what's the next best defense after that? Could say the Commanders at 13th. Because everybody else is from 13 up in total defense. And I really see that this game could really get out of hand early for the Rams if they can't stop the run. Like, they have to do what they got to do is you're going to pick your poison. And tell you the truth, if you're playing in the snow, your poison is you got to try to box the one out and hope they can't pass. They're hoping they can't pass the ball. But this ain't gonna be pretty for the Rams. Really, it's not. If this was in a dome, you could say, hey, this was going to be a closer game and everything. I just can't see this being. I think the Eagles will pull away eventually, and tell you the truth, I think we're going to host the NFC title game next week because I think the Commanders are going to beat Detroit Lions.
Wow.
And,
All right, we're gonna I'm excited to get to that game. Go ahead, Drew.
the thing about it is, if that happens, you're gonna see the game that was supposed to happen before they got that cheap shot in on Jalen Hurts to take him out the game, and got those lucky ass calls. A blowout Eagles win in the NFC title game.
Wow. Yeah. Who can forget the Commanders versus Philadelphia? And I've been wondering if that was your destiny, if that's a team destiny for you guys to match up with Jaden Daniels, the rookie quarterback of the year. We're going to get to that game, but Fonzie was saying earlier he thinks Ravens versus Bills, which is the afternoon game on Sunday. Let's get to that matchup, Drew, because he thinks that's going to be the game of the entire weekend, and I happen to agree with him. This is the most anticipated game between two MVP contenders. I don't know if they've already voted for MVP. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, Drew. And I'm just checking right now. You are sure lock in for snow for Philadelphia this Sunday. The Ravens are expected to play at the Bills Stadium with single-digit temperatures, and it could mix up with snow. So they also are going to be dealing with horrible weather. Maybe not a blizzard like your game, which will be very interesting. But let's talk about this game. This is the most exciting game of Sunday, although I'll be deeply invested in your game as well. Paul M., shout out to Paul. He says Bills. Sin City Syndicate says 28-1 Commanders Super Bowl. I'm assuming that's the odds. Man, that's incredible. Bills will smash the Ravens. Lamar is garbage. All right, man, let's talk about this game. The Ravens did beat the Bills earlier this year, had they not? But in that meetup, a lot of the star players for the Bills were injured. Some very, very key players. They happen to be all back. How are the Bills going to stop Derrick Henry if there is snow? If it is that cold, Derrick Henry is going to be a major, major weapon. Can they stop and control the run game?
I look at it like this. The Bills haven't been a home underdog in the playoffs since 1970. And they're a 1.5 point underdog against the Ravens. But I do look at it like this right now. Ravens are the second to last ranked pass defense. And all the Buffalo likes to do is pass the ball. So I look at it like this. Can I take that 1.5? I might take that 1.5 against with the Bills. I think the Bills can win by 7. I think they win by 7.
Drew, I'm looking at the odds according to DraftKings right now. This is going to be a very close game. The Ravens are currently favored. It's the Buffalo Bills that are underdogs in their own stadium. Ravens favored by -1.5. They are the favorite there. A very close game. Over 51 points. They expect this game to be full of a lot of offense. A lot of offense. You think the Buffaloes come up on top by 7?
Yeah, I think they win by 7 points.
By the way, I didn't say my pick, guys. I think the Eagles do beat the Rams, and I think it's going to be a very close game. Much closer than Drew's 19-point spread. I think that will be decided by 7 or 9 points. That should be close. This game is going to be very exciting, Drew. Lamar Jackson has a bad history of blowing big games in the playoffs.
So does Josh Allen.
And so does Josh Allen. That's why these odds are so close. Being there in the backyard, they're inside the home. They're not playing in their own home, man. I'm going to give the benefit to Josh Allen to be the winner this Sunday, and that's going to be my favorite game of the week. I got the Buffalo Bills by 3 or 7 underdogs. I'm actually going to lay some money down on that one at the sports book. All right, anybody else think potentially the Ravens got this? Put it in the chat. Let us know right now. We're going to move on to the Saturday games now. God. Y'all see this? Drew, did you see this? This shit is crazy. Let me show you guys, since I got some of my Mexican homies up in here. But this went viral on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. But in Mexico, they have opened up the very first 2 franchise. They've got 2 franchises now for the NFL. I've never seen this shit. This is the Kansas City Chiefs KFC in Mexico. The other team, San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, my team got their own KFC now in Mexico. And when the 49ers played in Mexico City, they had a huge response. Apparently, there are a lot of 49er fans in Mexico City. Shout out to all of them. Bang, bang, Niner gang. KFC with official partners with the NFL in Mexico. 49ers, KFC, and the Chiefs got their own. I can't stand Chiefs fans. You all know that. Y'all know that. Shout out to all my Chiefs fans, but I can't stand y'all when it's time for playoffs. As Drew walks away, guys, that was an incredible performance last week. I really didn't think that the Chargers were going to lose that game last week. CJ Stroud, who's been having some bad games, but still managed to get himself in the playoffs. They had a fairly decent record. Performed admirably against the LA Chargers last week, blowing them out by over 20 points. CJ Stroud is red hot, Drew, right now, but the Chiefs are fully rested. They're completely rested up. Everyone, they should be in fantastic health. They're going into Chiefs territory. This is going to be a hard game for CJ Stroud and the Texans, Drew. Let me just look at the odds really quickly. And boy, it would be fantastic if the Chiefs didn't advance. It would just be great. But that's a pipe dream since we know that, Mahomes gets the job done when it counts. Chiefs are favored by 8.5. I think they win the game by 10 points, unfortunately. I hate to be... And, Paul, I agree with you. No to the Swifties. Do C.J. Stroud and the Texans stand a chance to win in the backyard of Mahomes?
No, I just don't think so. I really think that this was really a game that they got that win against the Chargers because Justin Herbert just could not fucking do anything. He choked. And he took accountability, but no, I don't think the Texans stand a chance. I think they lose. I think this could be maybe a blowout. But, do they have a puncher's chance? Yes, they got a puncher's chance. I just don't think they do it.
Paul, I agree with you, Paul. I'm hoping for a miracle and that the Swifties lose. I'm hoping so too, but I don't see it, man. But that is a fantastic game to bet on. Should you be inclined, the money line is a plus 350 for the Houston Texans if you're going for the upset on that one. That brings us to the most important game for Drew, obviously. Your potential, if you guys win as predicted, your potential matchup in the NFC Championship game, Jayden Daniels, Rookie of the Year versus Jared Goff. I'm a Bay Area kid, guys. I went to Catholic school. I'll never tell you which Catholic school I went to, but happened to play the team, Marin Catholic, all the time. Marin Catholic, Jared Goff's alma mater, high school. Played him all the time. Played that school and everything. They were our division rivals. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Interesting enough, I got a really good graphic here, Drew. This is called Who Won. Let me see if I can pull this one up really quickly. If I could pull this one up, but it was called Who Won the Trade. Since Jared Goff and the LA Rams exchanged for Matthew Stafford, these are all the picks that they got from that. And the Lions find themselves in this divisional playoff game. They were in the NFC Championship last year against the 49ers. Jared Goff, running back, look at that. Tight end, Sam Laporta. Wide receiver, Jameson Williams. Defensive back, I won't say the name and butcher it, Broderick Martin, Josh Paschal. Damn, was this beneficial to the Detroit Lions. Now they're second, could potentially be one game away from an NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. By the way, I also really like Amon. Paul says Lions. He's going with the Lions. Jared Goff, man, a Bay Area kid, went to Berkeley. I got to be rooting for them. But Drew, how do the Commanders, and Jayden Daniels had an unbelievably great game last week. Jayden Daniels has been clutch in fourth down conversions. He just makes shit happen. He made a fucking Hail Mary. He did a Hail Mary this year to win the game. He's been successful against your team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think the Commanders are going to win this game and upset the Detroit Lions in their backyard?
Yeah, I think it could happen. The injuries are piling up. Lions are ranked 20th in defense. Commanders are ranked number 5 in pass defense. I really see, and they got the addition of Moshawn Lattimore. I really think that they could have an issue with Jaden Daniels. So if they can't contain Jaden Daniels and make him pass to win the game, Lions are gonna get their ass kicked. But if the Lions can score at will, here's the thing. If this is a shootout, the Lions win. Now, if this doesn't become a shootout, this is a Commanders game. So, you know how it is, man. We gotta see how it is, how this game progresses. But I can really think this game could be decided by 10 points.
And that's the spread right here. Detroit Lions favored by 8.5 points. Jaden Daniels has been clutch. This is going to be a shootout. I just have to favor the guy with the veteran experience. I've got to go with Jared Goff winning this game. Jaden Daniels has had an unbelievably lucky and successful rookie season. It's been great fun. It's been great fun watching the guy. He could make this upset happen, Drew. You think the Detroit Lions, so you don't think you're going to see the Commanders in the NFC Championship game?
I think we will.
You think they win?
I think the Commanders win. I think they come to Philly and they get their ass kicked. and people are going to realize that game was a fucking fluke. And the Eagles are going to, and people are going to realize that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. The Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
The big payback, Drew, if you're so inclined to wager on the Commanders, straight money line, it's plus 360. $100 will get you $360 back. Nice. That is a nice underdog bet. Anybody else think here the Commanders and Jaden Daniels who's done incredible things this season? Do you think he can pull off the upset over the much more experienced gang at the Detroit Lions? I'm going with the Detroit Lions. Wow. I'll have to, I've never dived deep into that controversy and that conspiracy, Sin City Syndicate, if the NFL is rigged. I like to imagine it's not. And I do believe in a lot of conspiracies, but I like to imagine that the NFL is not rigged just because so many of these guys put their lives on the line. Let's look at the bracket one more time. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Texans. Drew, you have?
I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Unanimously, I can't. I hate to say it, but the Swifties are going to win this one. Buffalo Bills versus Ravens. That is a really hard 50-50 one but I'm going with the Buffalo Bills playing at home. Drew?
I would go with the Bills.
All right. Detroit Lions versus Commanders. Drew's got the Commanders, and I've got the Eagles versus the Rams. I know the Rams are going to be, I think they're going to give you guys a tough game, but they're going into Philly territory, man. And again, they say you are the worst fans, but worst fans could be great fans, and they're going into your backyard, man. It's going to be a raucous, snowy game. I don't think they will be best prepared for that coming off a short week. Like you said, they just played on Monday night. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for that. That's our picks. That's our football picks really quickly, guys. We didn't do a boxing show, so stick around, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that like if you do. I want to quickly transition to some boxing news. Like I said, Drew, just a couple weeks away, I said at the beginning, I'll be going to that Diego Pacheco fight with Matchroom Boxing. Eddie Hearn will be there at the Cosmopolitan. And then the week after, Las Vegas is going to be hosting the return of PBC at the T-Mobile. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. Wow, that's going to be very exciting. There's going to be a lot of people rolling into town back-to-back for boxing. Drew, I mentioned they had the ring awards. Canelo Alvarez is the only person in this entire picture that did not wear a suit and tie or a tuxedo as required by the dress code. Face of boxing? Or you just didn't get the memo?
I don't know.
Yeah, Sin City Syndicate, it's big news. Obviously, that is the big news right now is whether or not this is happening. The face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford, now being talked about seriously, even though when interviewed, Canelo said, I'm not talking about that. He said, I'm not talking about that right now. But it looks and it all appears that, hey, that's exactly what they were doing, was formulating a plan for Canelo to maybe get an easy touch. Actually, it looks like he's dropping PBC, Drew, and we'll be working with Turki Al-Sheikh for his May fight. And they have made an offer to William Skull, an easy, stay busy fight that will give him the undisputed status all over again. Terrence Crawford and him rumored for September. I really think if this does happen, it gets signed for September, that Terrence Crawford needs to stay busy. And unfortunately, the big news that I just heard about today is that unified champion Sebastian Fundora, great guy. I've met him. We've got some interviews with him on my channel. That fight with Errol Spence, dude, first of all, Fundora, since winning the titles from Tim Tszyu, has been basically chilling for about a year. He's taken an entire fucking year off. Now he's eyeing a return for March, and it was rumored to be with Errol Spence. They've tied up all their energy into negotiating with Errol Spence. Errol Spence drops a bombshell today and says that the accident really fucked him up, and that he's been going to the doctors to check his MRIs, to have his head scanned. That he's like, now, it's like what I went through. I was thrown out of a fucking Ferrari at high speed, thrown out, ejected. Basically saying he probably should have never fought Terrence Bud Crawford. That fight is off. He's basically alluding, like Tyson Fury did this week, that his career is over. Are you okay with that?
It's best for him. And I think Sampson has done Fundora injustice by trying to make a fight for over a year and keeping him inactive and everything.
Right.
And I think Sampson, I think, has done a terrible job with Sebastian Fundora.
Well, shit, the news gets worse because right now, from what I saw, Terrence Bud Crawford dropped a very subliminal tweet earlier today saying you had your chance for a fight or whatever, something along those lines, that you could have had this fight. Actually, now it makes a lot of sense if Terrence Crawford, who's supposedly had an injury lately, if he could get it together to maybe fight Fundora in April or May. If Sebastian Fundora can wait, and we can have a unified champion at 154 pounds where Terrence Crawford still holds a belt. The problem with that is, even if they would make that fight, which I think is a great fight, is that it's not doing any favors to Terrence Bud Crawford, who needs to get acclimated to fighting at a higher weight. He's going to waste his time staying at 154, and when he needs his body to start building up the muscle to fight at 168, he's doing himself a disservice, which is why, Drew, I'm going to just say it right now, guys who follow the sport. If Terrence Crawford is going to fight, I think he needs to contact PBC folks. Turki Al-Sheikh needs to get the 160-pound champion Arislan de Lara on board. A very winnable fight for Terrence Crawford. I think another accolade to his long list of accomplishments in the sport of boxing. Terrence Crawford could be a champion at 160 and end his career trying to become undisputed, because Canelo Alvarez is most likely going to get that fucking belt back in May against William Skull. And then Terrence Crawford could see if the gamble paid off, man. Are you going to beat the undisputed champ on 168? 135 champion, 140-pound undisputed, 147-pound undisputed, champion at 154, champion at 160, and potentially, well, does anybody think in this chat that Terrence could beat Canelo?
No.
The great Ella Bun Bun has joined us. The big mystery, Ella Bun Bun, is in the chat. I appreciate. She says Detroit Lions. Okay. By the way, Ella Bun Bun, Matthew Ross of Las Vegas, he said some unkind words to me. I didn't appreciate that. So I've got to have a talking with Matthew Ross, because you don't talk to me like that.
All right. Fuck you, Matthew Ross. What the fuck your name is?
There you go, Drew. There you go. Moving on to some more boxing. Oh, so Terrence Crawford and Sebastian Fundora. You're not going to believe who they want. You're talking about his manager. You want to know who they're talking about? Joey Spencer. They went down the line, and the WBO is like, hey, man, you need to fight somebody ranked if you're going to defend your title at 150. Joey Spencer got his ass beat. It hasn't been seen since he got his ass beat by Jesus Ramos Jr. And now they're talking about, is Joey Spencer available? You can't make this shit up. But let's talk about some positive news in the sport of boxing really quickly about fights that have been made as a result of the Ring Awards. This fight is official if you're a UK fan. Conor Benn versus Eubank at 160 pounds, now a done deal for April. And Drew, the most interesting thing to me about press week at the Ring Awards in the UK was the way Conor Benn punked the fucking shit out of Ryan Garcia. He punked Ryan Garcia. Oh, was that good? Shout out to Fitty the Legend. Fitty, if you wanted to, if you are mic'd up and ready to go, you want to join us on this panel, man, I'd appreciate that. I'll drop the link just to anybody that wants to join us on this one. But this fight is official, and Conor Benn punked the shit out of Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia did stand up for himself. But Drew, it don't matter because Ryan Garcia, the controversy has come back. Devin, Haney, and him are going to do it. They're going to run it back. And now we're going to get back into the conversations about PEDs because originally Ryan was like, I am not going to fuck with the VADA. I'm not going to do your VADA. We're going to do this fight. You're going to drop the lawsuit against me. You're going to drop the VADA requirement. We're going to use some other testing agency for PEDs. They're working that shit out. But apparently, y'all seen this picture. They signed some papers. It was all the rage yesterday on X. Let me see here. This is the big picture. Ryan signs the contract. Turkey Al-Sheikh said, you know, he made the big splash. Ryan signed the contract, but they haven't even revealed to us who the fuck did he sign the contract to fight. Now, it looks like the fight with Haney is going to be set official for October. But in the meantime, Ryan Garcia said on Twitter that you're not going to believe who the hell I signed up to fight. You're not going to believe it. And don't say I fight punks. But it's rumored to be Isaac Cruz or potentially Teofimo Lopez. And hey man, I appreciate Teofimo Lopez. He's been embroiled with a battle with Bob. Bob earlier this week says we offered him the biggest purse for Subriel Matias, the opportunity to earn even more if somehow the pay-per-view took off, and he turned that down. Who's Ryan Garcia fighting? Is it Teo?
I look at it like this. They may overhype it, and he winds up fighting Ohio, Venezuela. But I don't know. I really think that Devin Haney has talked so much trash since getting his ass kicked and being inactive. Now, there is no way in hell Devin Haney can say anything. He's talking about, use VADA. But here's the thing. VADA is not foolproof. And I look at it like this, man. I think this is going to probably be enough. If Ryan Garcia beats him clean, I think they're going to use some type of excuse to Haney's. They probably paid to get their O back. And it wasn't the PEDs that beat Devin Haney. It was his inability to defend a simple left hook. And I really, really think right now, Devin Haney needs a stay busy fight.
Let's talk about this. Is who Devin. So reportedly, this is what's going on. The current report or news or rumors is that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are going to fight on the same card in Riyadh. They're going to fight as potentially they are going to be the co-main events for Canelo Alvarez in May, Cinco de Mayo. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia on the same card as Canelo Alvarez. That is going to be a phenomenal card if it happens indeed. Not in Riyadh, but obviously right here at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Devin Haney is reportedly looking to fight Jose Ramirez of Fresno, California. Jose Ramirez coming off a loss in a do-or-die kind of fight, you know what I'm saying? And Devin Haney posted today on Twitter, he said goodbye 140 pounds. He said goodbye 140. Drew, Devin Haney officially announcing himself to be a welterweight. Jose Ramirez also moving up to saying he needed to move up to welterweight. And Ryan Garcia, we don't know who he's going to fight. Is he going to fight Teofimo Lopez? Is it Teofimo? By the way, Sontio, do you know anything? Because, yeah, Bill Haney's senior and Teofimo senior on the undercard. That's going to be some crazy shit. That is going to be some crazy shit talking. That is a lot of stars that could potentially be announced any day now. Who is going to be fighting? Is it going to be Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez at 147 pounds? And will Ryan Garcia be fighting Teofimo Lopez at 147? It does not make sense to me. And I'll tell you something. If Ryan drags up little Isaac Cruz up to 147, that is some fucking bitch-made shit. We already saw Valenzuela. Didn't we see Arroyo outbox and outsmart Isaac Pitbull Cruz? Do not bring him to the table. And Teo, I thought about this quite a bit today, Drew. I've seen Teofimo. I've seen him fight in person. I've interviewed him. People try to say he has a great chin. He did fantastic things at 135, obviously. Ryan Garcia's career at 135 was not as accomplished. He literally did nothing. He beat no champions. You have Teofimo beating Lomachenko, becoming a unified champion. In his mind, he was undisputed, even though there were some issues with one of the belt. He was undisputed, moved up and became the lineal champ at 140 pounds. Also something that Ryan Garcia has never done. Let me see, Ryan Garcia's career at 140, he fought a fighter, Duarte, at 143 because he didn't make 140. And then he came back and again couldn't make 140, Drew. So is Teofimo Lopez a fair fight at welterweight? I mean, Teo's been talking about I can fight at welterweight, but is he really going to give up his belt?
I think he officially moved up to welterweight, Teofimo. I look at it like this. I don't think any fight is going to be meaningful for a championship when it comes to a couple of these guys at welterweight, like Haney, Ryan, or Teofimo. I think if Teofimo and Ryan do fight, if that's the fight that was signed, I really think Teofimo can possibly win the fight. And by knockout.
Interesting.
I will, because I think if you look at it, I think he has better footwork than Ryan Garcia, and he is a better counterpuncher than Ryan Garcia. Now, if we look at Devin Haney, we look at it like this. Devin Haney loses to Ryan Garcia again. I really think Devin Haney might be done.
Actually, I'm going to agree with you, Drew, that I think Ryan just got Devin's number. He's just got his number. And if Devin can't fight a perfect clinical fight, which apparently in the first fight they had, he threw the game plan right out the door in the first 30 seconds, getting caught, like you said, walking into Ryan's famous hook. And it wasn't the first time he had ever faced Ryan. He had a long history of fighting. Would they fight 6 times as amateurs? A long history of knowing how Ryan Garcia fights, and he walks right into that punch. And at welterweight, I'm probably going to figure that Ryan Garcia is going to be even stronger, despite the drug testing that they're going to be employing. Yeah, I think Ryan's going to be stronger.
The other thing is, I really hope that Turkey can control Ryan Garcia as in, hey, I'm not going to perfectly go overweight like he does and everything. I think if you're going to make weight, you need to make weight. We need to have you both make weight, have you both clean, so there's no excuses whatsoever who wins this fight. Now, I think, if we look at it, like Ryan Garcia needs to show that he can make weight on a fight. And that's the main thing. He has to show he can make weight on a fight.
I agree with you. I agree. And I don't think if he fights Teofimo, I just have a feeling they're going to come back and let us know this will not be contested at 140 pounds, because there's no way Ryan is going to make 140 pounds when he has an anticipated rematch with Devin Haney, which is going to be in months later at 147. Who will Ryan Garcia be announcing? I mean, he's like I said, guys, if you didn't miss it, Turkey Ali Sheik posted pictures of him signing the big contract. But again, like, man, what a cliffhanger. They won't let us know who it is. There's been some other really interesting boxing news. I want to get to a heavyweight that announced his retirement. But speaking of Terrence Bud Crawford, I forgot to mention, man, but Gervonta Tank Davis, he kind of crossed the line this week, guys. And I want to know, this is one thing that you don't talk about people's families. We've got some really good friends on here on YouTube. Other, content creators go through this type of shit all the time. But even boxers, man, I think that Gervonta Tank Davis absolutely crossed the line this week. And I think it's personal now. It's absolutely personal. Unfortunately, Gervonta Tank Davis wants to fight a champion that fights at 130 pounds in Lamont Roach. And all credit to Lamont Roach. He's a great champion. But we really could be talking about, can these two guys meet at 147? And is it just as big as a super fight as Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo? Gervonta Tank Davis said that I think he's alluding that he could fight at 147 and that he would fucking fight Terrence Bud Crawford. And again, if you didn't know, but this week, Gervonta Davis said some really bad stuff about Terrence Crawford's wife. And he posted something like, and he got 8 kids and his wife, like 380 pounds. Yeah, buddy, got to work overtime. And amongst the shit talking was how much money you got, how much more money I got than you got. Is this something that in your eyes is feasible to have these two great champions fight? And could it happen before the Canelo fight? Terrence Bud Crawford is not signed to fight anyone. Gervonta has a contracted date coming up in the spring. Can these two fight? Because once Terrence Crawford moves up to 168, he ain't ever going to come back down and fight little Tank Davis.
Everybody's got to realize Tank Davis's minimum price is $1.5 million for fighting bums. Other than that Ryan Garcia check, he's fighting bums for $1.5 million. And if you see it, I think Terrence Crawford made like fucking $6 or $7 million fighting Majimov and everything. So if we look at it like this, Terrence Crawford, if he fights Canelo, can probably make between 10 to 15 million, maybe more, and everything. Tank probably got like 30 million when he fought Ryan Garcia. That was his biggest payday. And if we look at it, I think Tank talks a lot of shit for not fighting anybody. And when there's opportunities to fight somebody, his people lowballs them to make an excuse that he ain't fighting them. Or he just brings somebody up from 130. Like, if you're not going to fight somebody and everything that's a threat to you, you might as well just retire right now.
Well, he's talking about retirement, obviously. There's been some great comments, guys. Sontel Media says, I didn't hear about that. He's definitely out of pocket. Fonzie619 says, when you disrespect someone's family member, it's on. Look at what happened with Mayorga and De La Hoya. That was a great fight lead up, obviously, the fame. Who's going to forget about Mayorga? He was an absolute villain with the cigarette, calling him a maricon and disparaging De La Hoya's wife at the time. Obviously, he's moved on, but man, what a great lead up to that fight. And I don't think we've seen a villain quite as nasty as Mayorga in the sport of boxing since, although some people have definitely tried. Wiley Coyote says, Tank's too small to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't know, man. They say that he can. Hey, shout out to Finney the Legend. You guys know he's the king of Tuesdays. I don't fucking stream on Tuesday with my small audience, but make sure you guys tune in to Finney the Legend, and hopefully me and him and Drew can do a collab. If you guys didn't know, like a year and a half ago, we tried to do a football show, and I don't even know why we fucking abandoned it. It was kind of an inspiration for me and Drew to keep on going, because I really think we could get some going with Finney the Legend. Maybe Finney Sports Legend Show. How about that? The Finney the Legend Sports Show. That would be fucking tight. All right. Let's see. Let's carry on, guys. Yeah, appreciate that super chat, man. Big, much love to you, Finney. Let's go on here and carry on. There are a couple other things. Obviously, Terrence Bud Crawford versus, for me, Gervonta Tank Davis would be a dream fight and a whole lot better than Lamont Roach. But can they squeeze that fight in? I don't think it's feasible to happen. Let's talk about another Floyd really quickly, guys. And speaking of Fonzie, he was in here. Fonzie. Man, Fonzie and Floyd Schofield's mom, did they hit it off? Now, we added each other on Instagram, and I haven't hit up Floyd Schofield's mom. I don't know the relationship between Floyd Schofield Sr. and the mom. I just know the mom is at every fight, and it's been a pleasure hanging out with her and sitting down next to her. But, Floyd Schofield is going to fight. He got the opportunity of the lifetime. He's going to fight Shakur Stevenson, Drew, in just a few months. And Floyd Schofield and his dad did not get to the Ring Magazine award show in the UK. They claimed that their house was broken into. They claimed that the passports were stolen. They claiming all kind of shit. Now today they're claiming that somebody's fucking with their cars. Can you believe this? Now he's talking about that Shakur and Shakur's team are flattening their tires. This was posted today. Wow. Are they that desperate? It must be a rental because I know that's a Kia, and I would expect that at this point, Oscar's paying you more money and you got a flossier car than a Kia. But apparently now, even according to Floyd Schofield, he thinks that Shakur's team or Shakur's coming out there and slashing his tires.
I can't.
Wait, somebody's got to build up the fucking fight. By the way, I actually know a YouTube creator that claims that somebody keeps slashing their tires. Another YouTube content creator. And I actually know somebody that says another YouTube content creator is coming over to my house, and every time I got to get new tires and slashing them. People could be nasty out there, but Shakur slashing tires?
I want to know who this YouTuber claims that's slashing his tires.
I can't put them on blast like that. I'm cool with them. Adi Mehdi says, who the fuck drives a Kia? I don't think Floyd Schofield wanted us to know. It is a rental, okay? But yeah, he will be fighting Shakur Stevenson. Can he pull off the biggest upset of 2025? Floyd Schofield beating Shakur?
What's wrong with a Kia? This thing was the hottest shit, man.
I'll agree with you, Santiago Media. The Telluride is a nice looking SUV. I think that might be the best looking one. Adi Mehdi, no, I won't say Bud's wife looks like a Kia. I just did. Oh, come on.
Oh, you guys are assholes.
Ooh, they're mean today. By the way, speaking of Oscar De La Hoya, Turki Al-Sheikh is planning for this fight card in May in the U.S. Could this be the card they're talking about, the 5-on-5? Could this be in May, the same night as Canelo Alvarez's Cinco de Mayo fight in Las Vegas? Is this what he's talking about? Because in order for America versus Mexico, well, Canelo would have to fight an American. So I don't know if this is possible. Ryan Garcia, is he Mexican?
No, he's American.
He's American, so he'd have to be fighting Isaac Cruz. That would make sense. Yeah. Devin Haney would have to be fighting a Mexican if Jose Ramirez, who's Chicano, who's born in Fresno or Avino, California, does he? I mean, it's possible you could sell it. You could always kind of sell a Chicano, Mexican American as a Mexican, but this is going to be a great fight, whatever this is, whether it happens Cinco de Mayo or the week after. The 5-on-5 is being planned now. Drew, the last bit of news. Tyson Fury, who just fought and lost to, the great Alexander Usyk for the second time, announced his retirement for, I don't know, is this the fourth time Tyson Fury retires?
I lost count.
Cap or not cap, or just taking a long extended break until the money is right?
He might take a long extended break till the money is right. At the AJ fight gets brought to his attention and Turkey promises him maybe $100 million, he'll probably take it.
Well, that being said, Deontay Wilder contemplated with retirement many times. He did the ayahuasca trip.
Oh, he's fighting a bum.
And Anthony Joshua also lost twice to Alexander Usyk. And because of that, now we're never going to get the great domestic UK fight. Now they're saying Conor Benn versus Eubank is going to be the greatest domestic UK fight ever in the history of UK boxing. So Does Turkey Ali Sheik have enough pull to get AJ versus Wilder done in 2025?
That's if Wilder don't lose to that bum that's fucking 18-11.
And just remind me, man, that is going to be on what network? Is that, I forget the network.
BLK Prime.
BLK Prime, the people that said they were going to sign Terrence Crawford for millions, right? That never materialized. They're going to go through with this fight, right? BLK Prime?
Wow, they're trying out for boxing again. What a fucking... Whoever is the CEO of that just needs to stop. Just stop, please. Stop wasting your money.
Wilder definitely needs an easy touch if he's going to even get an opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua. And I think, you know, for the career for Deontay Wilder, it's going to be a great thing for him to go into the backyard, the UK across the pond, as they say, into the O2 Arena and just feel that energy of 60 to 80,000 screaming boxing fans, something that's almost impossible to do here in the U.S., man. So I shout out to AJ and Deontay Wilder. If Turkey Ali Sheik can make this fight happen, I'm all for it. This could be their last hoorah for both of these great fighters, you know, who've had fantastic heavyweight championship careers. Man. Yeah. Wiley Coyote says Wilder wants to get paid in ayahuasca. So that being said, next Monday, Drew, I think, you know, next week, period. Looks like the schedule will be next Monday. We'll come back and we'll preview that fight. Matchroom Boxing is coming to Las Vegas, coming to the Cosmopolitan. I'm going to see my boy Fonzie 619. I hear there's some really nice new venues or restaurants that opened up at the Cosmopolitan. I've been dying to check out the New Mexican restaurant. There's some hidden bars that we want to check out. Maybe I'm going to try to film some shit and make that a vlog the following week. We'll come back Monday for the Shoeshine to talk about the big Matchroom Boxing fight. We got the David Morrell versus David Benavidez coming up the week after. Boxing will be in full swing as we approach Super Bowl weekend. Super Bowl weekend is right around the corner. It's not in Vegas, but obviously just, what, six more games? How many more games? It's going to be great, man. Drew, any final thoughts on football this week? I know you think the Eagles are going to blow out the Rams by 19.
No, but I can tell you this right now. Fonzie's saying I better not try to get shit-faced if Dave's doing a video.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, he says, Drew, I'm giving Shoeshine a Japanese video game to send you. I hope you like it. Oh, man, I appreciate that. And so,
appreciate it.
Yeah, and Sonteo Media says Benavidez Morel is going to be fire. Yes, it is, and it's going to be a lot of people are going to be descending on Vegas. That being said, too, if you guys are coming to Vegas, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I need to stay healthy, too. But there's some really fucking nasty flu strains and COVID strains. And it's going to be a miracle if I don't get sick next week for the big David Benavidez fight. That is the goal, is just to not get sick being out at the casinos. Because I'm telling you, everybody that's visiting Vegas is going back home and telling me they got COVID or they got the flu. And it happens every time this year. Damn it.
You're making me hesitate about coming to Vegas, Dave.
No, just don't come during the flus, man. You got to come in spring or late November, December, Drew. No hesitation.
If I was to come, I will probably come in December or January.
Man, Drew's going to have the time of his life in Vegas, guys. I want to thank Philly Drew, of course. I want to thank Finney the Legend for dropping that super chat, super sticker today. Man, that is greatly appreciated. Check out his channel, Finney the Legend, on Tuesday nights. Great 5-hour stream, averages 500 people. Can you just imagine, Drew, if we was on the level of the Boxing Voice or Blue Blood and had 400 or 500 people listening to this little show every fucking week? That would be great, right?
Yeah, but I can tell you the truth. Everybody, they're going to be like this. Why is that dude telling random people to go fuck themselves?
That's it, man. That's it. All right, guys. I'm Dave in the 702 Philly Irish. We will be back on Monday night. Until then, peace out, everybody.